Welcome to BearingPoint's ABS Expert Talk, where we turn complexity into clarity and strategy into funding. If you are in corporate treasury or a CFO, this is exactly the place to be.
Let's take a closer look on the return on investments and how you can convince your CFO to go for the ABS transaction. That's the subject of the chapter for today. So let's flip this around, Timo, and with your experience, let's say, as an originator of securitization transactions, I think you should at least be well aware on the reservations of the C-level. We already spoke about this, yeah. So what are the common reservations? We tackled that. We tackled that already. But let's take a look at the financial rationale of such a deal. How do we convince at the end the management to go down the path of securitization?
Indeed, because at the end of the day, the benefits have to be measurable. Nobody's doing that just for ticking the box, securitization done, right? In my experience, or in the past, in that function and role as group treasurer, I had to propose, or I was happy to propose transactions several times. Always, by the way, including BearingPoint as a service provider in this context. And what made the process a success at the end of the day was a clear idea of what is the impact of the transaction, obviously, on your cost of funds. They should go down. What is the impact on the liquidity you raise? Yeah. What is the impact on the risk you transfer and your remaining risk profile? What does it mean for your processes, right? Is it really slim and swift and fast forward and automated? All of these aspects have to be considered and turned into KPIs pre and after securitization, with or without securitization. But then there is also another dimension, which means the securitization as such needs to be structured very efficiently. Because, well, let's face it, banks have a tendency, and that's no surprise, to reduce their risk, to optimize their position as risk taker as good as they can. Now, this is not always in the interest of you being the originator of the deal. So you have to find an equilibrium here. And what is a good example to illustrate that is, for example, the frequency of how often you sell your assets and the level of reserves needed in the transaction. Because maybe you still have it in mind, we said that you transfer the risk of repayment to the purchaser. So to mitigate that risk, the bank or the capital markets do request a certain level of reserves. And that level is heavily impacted by the frequency of your purchases. And as a rule of thumb, it's fair to say that the more often you sell, the requirements for the reserves is reduced, right? Lower reserves. Now, you could argue, okay, then I do it daily. Do it on a daily basis. Yes, of course you can do, but it requires a fully automated process. There is no room for manual steps, for error-prone processes. This has to work in a fully automated manner. And this is exactly where the service of BearingPoint creates so much value, that it provides this automated process delivering what the capital markets need in the quality the capital markets need. And together, what I said in the beginning, the KPIs pre-securitization, after securitization, with this optimization within the structure, that is the set of arguments you will need to convince your management board for setting up such a deal. So when I would have to give you a recommendation, it clearly would be challenge your financing partners with criteria that make their offering comparable. And in order to do so, you might start a request for proposal with your core banks, right? And challenge them with a clear set of facts you want to know, structural elements, how they address it, what they need from you. And that gives you a good picture to evaluate the scenario afterwards and to find the best partner.
So I would like to come back to the topic of the reserve, right? So maybe not everyone in the audience might know, might understand. What you're implying is that if I have 100 million of receivables, of euros, of US dollars, or whatever currency you're looking at, this means, and I'm able to sell this. This does mean I don't get 100 million of currency. So my key takeaway here in this section is that I can positively impact, let's say, my financial KPIs through the structure I'm choosing, like improving the data quality, like the degree of automation which I'm doing, so that I can reduce funding costs on one hand side, but also reducing potential reserves which are held, let's say, within the securitization transaction.
Indeed.
So talk to us how ABS impacts your balance sheet and your financial KPIs so that you're able to choose the right structure. We hope you did find the insights valuable and tune in again for our next conversation.